Hello and welcome to Sideways. It's quite windy today, so I decided that I wouldn't do this introduction when I'm out with the dogs, so I'm doing it whilst I'm lying in my hammock. So perhaps you can conjure up a mental image of me swinging gently in the breeze. Anyway, this week we're talking about all the various ways in which we benefit from being kind to other people. Martin gives away some of his chocolate and receives a random act of kindness from a client that he can't take advantage of. We both enjoy a night out in London. I'm grateful for floor coverings and managed to do slightly better on this week's pop quiz than my appalling showing last week. Kindness. You said 9:14, it's 9:15 when you arrived.
Was it? No, I was trying to log in at 9:14, but it just took a little time to connect. That's all. So I was trying to be prompt.
What's that phrase? To be... Oh, I can't remember what it is. To be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late, and to be late is unacceptable.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I heard Alan Shearer say that the other day.
Did you? And if you're going to look for someone to get a little bit of a soundbite from, he's your man, isn't he?
He is. Those, all those motivational quotes you see, most of them are by Alan Shearer, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Anyway, let's get on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning.
So, yeah, good morning. Yeah. Well, what I wanted to talk about today was something which we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and it's not actually even on our list.
Oh.
So we've got the extensive list, and I've ended up doing something which is not on there.
Gone off-piste.
Yeah, slightly, yeah, but it was because really it was illustrated very kindly this week by yourself, buying me a ticket for my birthday to go with you to see the American indie rock band of the National at the Ali Pali, which was a first for two firsts there. I've never seen the National before, they were absolutely fabulous. So I've got to say it was a very good recommendation. And the Ali Pali, which was a quite magnificent venue.
Yeah, it's a nice place, isn't it, to go?
Yeah, it is. Yes,
that's it. Then is that the episode?
That's a wrap. But I think we was having a chat on the train, and we thought that kindness would be. It works this week. And before we start, so I want to do now, sort of link into kindness as well. So it's all relevant because we've had some very kind messages since we returned.
Have we?
Yeah, from our break. Yeah, I've had people saying, "I'm glad you're back," and good to hear you.
I haven't had any. Nobody said that to me.
Have they not? No, it's probably because your part isn't that worthy, but my part has obviously struck a chord.
Perhaps people aren't glad to have me back.
Yeah, but they're not. No,
they're just glad to have you back.
No, it was. I'm sure it was. It was a 50-50 share. I'm being kind to you here. But we did. It's a bit of feedback from the last couple of episodes. We were trying to remember the name of the place that Michael Hutchins stayed. In Maids End and Jez, one of our listeners very kindly reminded me it was Chilston Park. And Chilston Park, have you been there?
I have. I think I've been to a wedding there.
Yeah. So it's a lovely place.
Haven't they? Is it Chilston Park? They've got the sort of life-size chess set on the lawn.
I think they have. Yes, I remember.
And a massive Jenga.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, it was a long time ago. I remember I have been there like Sunday lunch over at Chilston Park with a bit of jazz on the lawn, which was, but again, it was in my bed this time, so I don't really remember a great deal about it. I probably thought the chess set was an actual size one, I was that out of it. But we had a nice message also on Facebook.
Hang on, before you move away from Michael Hutchins.
Oh, right, okay. You want to drag back there?
I had to check it out, and he did die before Paulie Yates.
He did, right. Oh, okay.
We were trying to remember whether she went first or he went first.
Oh, right, okay.
It was him.
Yes.
Death by misadventure, I think. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll draw a discreet veil over that.
Will, yeah. Okay. So we also had a nice message from, Steve Gray. He put us right on the rules of conkers, didn't he?
He did. And actually, when he described the amendment, it made absolute sense.
It does make sense, yeah.
Should we tell our listeners what the amendment was?
You can, yes.
Well, we said last week that if I, with my tour, beat you with your sixer, I would then be in a possession of an eighter.
Yeah.
But Steve put us straight by saying, no, actually, that would then be a niner.
Yeah.
Because I would have your 6, my 2, and the one for the victory against you.
Plus the win, yeah.
Plus the wins.
It does make sense, but all those years as a kid playing Conkers, those rules weren't used. So
I don't remember them being used. I've probably been cheated out of multiple
games
points. It's not surprising that kids don't play it anymore, is it? Because it's quite complicated.
It's way too complicated, yeah.
These days, kids would need a calculator to add it all up, wouldn't they?
Yes, we better not get too nostalgic at this point. But I would. Another point. There was a new chap came to group, and I didn't actually hear him say this, but he was in one of the meetings. He discovered our podcast, and he loved it and was waxing lyrical about it. And he's going back and doing a Ronnie. So,
we always like to hear that.
We do. I can't name him yet because I haven't cleared it with him. And but I thought it was a nice bit of feedback again.
That's good. Good. I mean, obviously, doing a Ronnie becomes ever more difficult, doesn't it?
It does. Yes. Yeah. Since we're season 7, episode 23. There, so we're cracking on.
177 odd.
Something like that. There's a lot. We've done a lot, haven't we? In fact, one of our previous episodes, back in season 4, episode 2, was on the gifting of alcohol. And so I had a bit of an act of kindness this week from a client who gave me and my business partner Les Whitstable Bay Pale Ale.
Nice drop.
Is it? Yes, I know that your response. I mean, Les and I laughed about it because it does happen from time to time. But he loves it.
I bet Les did laugh about it because he could have all 8 bottles, couldn't he?
Yeah, he had my half of the deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose being gifted some Whitstable Bay is a bit nostalgic because Whitstable was one of the places you'd run off to when you wanted to disappear, wasn't it? It
was, yeah, but I wouldn't have drank Whitstable Bay. It's only like 4%. It's no good to a proper alcoholic. It's a teaser. Anyway, I'm not wishing to glamorise any aspect of drinking. I was going to go on to the subject matter.
Right.
Because I wanted to look at the benefits of kindness.
Okay.
And I wanted to start with a very simple quote from Aesop.
He did some fables, didn't he?
He did. He was of fable fame.
Yeah.
Very simple quote. He said that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted, which I thought was quite a nice way to kick off. And it's very relevant where our support groups very much revolve around kindness for our fellow addicts and support. So it does fit in nicely. And I found when I was doing the research, and you probably knew this, but I didn't know that there was a Random Acts of Kindness Foundation, which was quite a good website.
I didn't know that. I know there's a fantastic song by Foy Vance called Random Acts of Kindness, if that's good to you.
It isn't, but perhaps it needs to go on the Spotify list.
Should do, because it's a cracking song.
And there's a Random Acts of Kindness Day, and next year it's on Saturday, February the 17th.
Is it?
So, yeah. There's another I found another website called brightvibes.com, which sounds quite good, doesn't it? And it listed the top 10 bonus of benefits of being kind. And as a precursor to the list, they advise that being kind to others is being kind to yourself.
Yes.
That's really where the list feeds into, how acts of kindness becomes an act of self-love as well. I just wanted to look at those. I couldn't go. There's 10 of them, so I couldn't go into them in great depth because we'd be here forever. And some of them sort of overlap. But I just wanted to whiz through some of these, if that's all right with you, and wait your very wise comments.
Well, it's absolutely fine with me. You go ahead.
Okay.
That was an act of kindness.
Was it? Yeah. Putting all the onus upon me.
Yeah.
First one. It's not in any particular order, but kindness makes us happier both spiritually and physically. Now, I mean, spiritually, I think without question, I think we talked about that in the past, but physically, it went on to explain that on a biochemical level, it's believed that the good feelings that we get when with acts of kindness is due to elevated levels of the brain's natural versions, and it puts down there in there, when I was looking at it describes it as natural versions of morphine and heroin. Which we know, which they've been called, and I struggle with this word, it's either endogenous opioids or endogenous opioids.
I think it's endogenous.
Endogenous, it sounds right.
So, yeah.
Because they cause elevated levels of dopamine in the brain, and so we get a natural high, which is often referred to as a helper's high. So
helper's high.
You got to help.
Did you ever have a helper's high when you were in the madness?
No, I was just trying to help myself. I help myself to some alcohol off the shelves in the local supermarket without anyone knowing.
I mean, I wonder. I guess we'll see how this is panning out. But
yeah,
I think there is a kind of already a strong allusion to the fact that one of the great benefits of kindness is it makes the giver feel great.
It does, and
it's lovely for the person that you're being kind to, but actually, there's a massive, bonus win for you when you're showing someone kindness.
Exactly, and we did touch on that again when we're looking back in that episode I referred to earlier on the gifting of alcohol. I think we touched on that, didn't we? About how when a gift comes along, like the Whitstable Pale Ale that was given to me, I didn't at any point saying, "Oh, that's all right, I don't drink. What are you doing that for? I don't get that away from me," sort of thing. It was just accepted gracefully because I knew it would make her feel good about the gift. So that's done. Number 2 was kindness is good for the heart. Now that seems a little bit woolly, but it goes on to say that acts of kindness are often accompanied by emotional warmth, and emotional warmth produces the hormone oxytocin, both in the brain and throughout the body. And that causes the release of a chemical called nitric oxide in blood vessels, which dilates the blood vessels. And this reduces blood pressure, and therefore oxytocin is known as the cardioprotective hormone. So the kinder you are, the stronger your heart is.
There we are.
I like that because we know, say spiritually, we know that lifts out the way we feel, but it's got some physical benefits as well. So we should all be engaging more in kindness, I feel.
It puts a new spin on the phrase kind-hearted, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're being kind-hearted, you are genuinely being kind to your heart.
To your own heart. Yeah, exactly. The third one, which was kindness slows aging. Now, there didn't seem to be a great deal.
You haven't been very kind in your life, have you?
No, well, I've been very unkind to myself, that's for sure, to everyone around me, for a long time. I hope I'm making up for it somewhat since, but no, you're right. It's time has taken me up a back alley and kicked the shit out of me.
You were looking very unkind when I was making you run down the hill towards the station at Alexandra Palace the other night.
Oh, yeah, well, because it was tight for the train times.
You were feeling your knees, weren't you?
I was feeling my knees. And running these days, as you know, I used to do half marathons and stuff. But these days, it doesn't fall into my overall area of happiness.
No. That was unkind, wasn't it, making an elderly man like you run down a hill?
It was, but it worked because we got the train just at the right nick of time. So
exactly. So I don't know if that's on your list, but sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind, don't you?
You do. It's not on my gratitude list, you making me run, that's for sure.
I thought it was funny, and whenever I create a mental image of it, it makes me laugh. So,
good for you. Glad that improves your well-being.
Oh dear. Sorry. Anyway, let's get back to your list.
Yeah, it slows aging apparently, but the next one was improves relationships, which I think is quite obvious, isn't it? Kindness improves relationships. So it's perhaps it is worth just reiterating, but straightforward.
Yeah, but I think that's another example of how, yes, of course, it improves your relationships with other people, but it does also improve your relationship with yourself.
Exactly.
I was talking, a client of mine was saying to me the other day, and without giving anything away, she's had quite a difficult life, and we were talking about some of the people who've kind of been responsible for some of the difficulties she's experienced, and she was expressing how sometimes she kind of feels as if she wants bad things to happen to them.
Yeah.
And I said to her, how do you think you'd feel if actually any of those things did happen? She said, well, I'd feel guilty. And that is a kind of classic example of how bad feeling never does you any good. Now, obviously, it might be very difficult to turn that 180 degrees and feel, hope for the best for people who've upset you or hurt you in the past. Oh, but certainly feeling a kind of complete lack of compassion and empathy and kindness is not helpful in terms of what it does to your own mental health, and not helpful in terms of the relationship you have with yourself. So I think it's always quite important to remember that. Yeah,
it is. And especially if you are harbouring nasty thoughts about people that have wronged you. We know how dangerous, I think we talked about that in the past.
Yeah,
where you have acts of revenge working in your own mind, and you can't go on with your life. And where forgiveness comes in is such a great tool for your own well-being. That's difficult sometimes, but it does work, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we've said, haven't we, forgiveness is a gift that you make to yourself.
Yes, and that's a nice little quote. That didn't come from Aesop, did it?
I think I just made that up.
You just made it up. It's very good. Well, kindness is contagious, apparently. That's the next on the list.
Is it like COVID?
It's a bit like it is. But I think kindness could be a sort of a super spreader, couldn't it? If you went to an event and you was kind to someone.
I'm just thinking about it. I mean, when you say it, it kind of, you think, yeah, it makes sense. But in what way is it kind of, I suppose it's contagious in as much as if you offer someone kindness, they're more likely to offer kindness to you and have that kind of more open view of the world. Is that
they are?
You
Yes, it is. I think when we're kind, we inspire others to be kind, and the studies show that it actually creates a ripple effect that spreads outwards towards their friends and the friends' friends. They call it.
I suppose you see that in group, don't you?
You do, absolutely.
Although that's a kind of foundation of a peer support group, there is something very contagious about seeing other people supporting others in difficult situations.
Yeah.
And it does make you want to kind of pile in and also be supportive, doesn't it? I mean, in the same way as piling in on someone, if you think about something like bullying, it becomes very easy for people to pile on top of negative emotion. So therefore, it would make sense that it would feel good and make it easier to pile on the back of positive emotion as well.
It does. And there's a quote that came up. I'm just looking on my phone, actually, because someone put it on Facebook this morning from Desai Aikida, he's a sort of a punk Buddhist.
Is he?
Yeah. And one of the quotes there was, when we overcome our challenges, which is like peer support, we show people who are struggling with the same issues a new path to victory. So I thought it was quite a nice little quote because, again, the acts of kindness work in the same way. They call it 3 degrees of separation, don't they, where it sort of ripples on. And eventually the ripple does, obviously, it runs out of steam, runs out of power. So being kindness, you need to continue to recharge that, I think.
Recharge your kindness batteries.
Recharge your kindness. And apparently it supports the immune system as well. Again, research shows that kindness boosts levels of an important immune system antibody known as, and again, I'm going to struggle to pronounce this, okay, secretory immunoglobulin.
Yeah, I think you did pretty well with that.
Immunoglobulin A. It's not B.
Say that again.
Immunoglobulin A. That's a tough one to say. I'll tell you what.
It's good. I think you did pretty well. Yeah, I mean, really, what all of this, all the kind of health, all the physical benefits are illustrative of how kindness. If you're kind, then you are going to be less stressed.
You are,
and if you're less stressed, you're putting less stress on your physical body, and the less stress you put on your physical body, the more likely you are to, be happy and healthy.
It is, and that was the final one on the list. Was it that kindness reduces stress? Which encompasses a lot of what's gone before. There was a couple of other points on there. Doing nice things for others boosts your serotonin, which is the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of satisfaction and well-being. So that touches upon when we're talking about the brain's natural morphine and heroin. Kindness supports mental health. And so research shows that kindness offers some protection against depression. So when they've studied people that get involved in volunteer work and those that don't, it shows lower rates of depression amongst those who get involved and help others via volunteering. So being a therapist ought to protect me from mental health issues then? I suppose it would, following that through to its natural conclusions, whether you can back that up or not, I don't know. But it reduces... No, I mean, I thought, that's slightly tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, I know. I think it certainly does. There's something, we talked about it before, there's something that feels very humbling and that I feel very grateful for in terms of the work I'm able to do. And it definitely does. Sometimes when you see a shift in someone, it feels amazing. Yeah. Not that I've done anything specifically, as we've said before, when people change, they change because they've decided to and they've created something. But actually, being present in the company of that is such a lovely thing to see. And I think that's an illustration of, the power of treating other people positively and kindly and with compassion. You're absolutely right. It's a question that I often get asked, especially when new people have come along to groups. and they find out how many years that I've been doing the groups and being sober. They say, well, why do you continue to do it? And I said, well, it's good for me personally, but nothing ever replaces that feeling of seeing someone get better.
Yeah.
And if I've had just a small part in that, then that makes me feel good. So I always come out of meetings feeling positive, even if I haven't, I've been facilitating rather than sharing. It's great. So again, that backs up what you were saying.
That's also what's kept this podcast going, really, because I expect people who think it's shit haven't bothered to tell us. But, when people do say nice things and you see more people listening and continuing to listen, that is a kind of almost a passive virtual exchange of kindness, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. And we're very grateful for that, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. It does boost my immune system.
Does it?
Well, yeah, it does.
Does it boost just say those words again?
Oh, I'll have to read it. A secretory immunoglobulin. I nearly got it at one go.
You nearly got it well. By the end of today, if you keep practicing, you'll have that off pat.
I'm going to. Once we're off air, we'll have a crack at that. I want to get a T-shirt with that put on it.
You could have a tattoo up your arm.
Oh, you made me all coffee now.
Oh, don't start that again.
No.
Okay, I had to cut most of last week's episode out because you were flipping coughing all the way through it.
I was listening to it back. I thought, oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, well, that's what you get if you don't get out of bed on time.
I got up early today. I got up especially on time, so I didn't.
4? Did you get up at 4?
Well, not quite that early.
Make sure.
I was sharp, head of bed, rather than laying there lounging, which I want to do on a Sunday morning. And that's really it. Apart from that one you mentioned, stress, but again, kindness eases anxiety. Because we know there's several ways to reduce anxiety. We've discussed in the past, such as meditation and exercise. However, it turns out that being nice to others is one of the easiest ways to keep anxiety at bay.
Yeah, that's true. That reminds me of something else, actually, which is when you're struggling, and I've seen this happen so many times with people, when you're struggling with your own mental health, be it through anxiety or depression or you're, overly stressed or whatever's going on, being able to reach out towards someone else who's struggling really often gives you a lift.
Yeah.
Because there's something quite isolating about feeling really, really low. Because although you know logically you're not, it can feel as if you're the only person that feels like that.
Yeah.
And then when you see someone else who's struggling as well, being able to reach out and support them in some way, it gives you both a lift.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
that's
a win-win.
That's an example of how simple acts of kindness are incredibly powerful. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be something tiny.
They can. It just reminds me, because it was several weeks ago now, I did a little random act of kindness to someone I didn't know, which I was just trying to recount what actually happened. And I was in the supermarket and I was queuing up. My stuff was all laid out on the conveyor belt. And there's a lady in front of me and her stuff was all laid out on the conveyor belt as well. And the person in front of her it was taking a lot of time at the till. We were getting held up. So we got chatting. Me and this lady got chatting. And she saw I had a little pack of chunky bars amongst her, like a pack of 4 chunky bars. She says, oh, God, I haven't had one of those for ages. And we were laughing about the fact that it used to be advertised as chunky bars, not for girls. Do you remember?
I do, yeah.
Pretty misogynistic advertising. We were laughing about that. So when we went to because we're in Aldi, so you go to the bench, don't you, and pack your stuff. And she was packing next to me, and so I opened up my packing form and gave one to her, to the angel with that. And there's no agenda. I wasn't trying to hit on her or anything like that, but she didn't look particularly well heeled, should we say? And she was so grateful. Yeah, it was nice.
There you go.
So I felt quite good about doing that. Yeah,
very good. Did you eat the other 3?
Absolutely. Yeah, But to sort of sum up, there's a quote that I heard just to sum up this how kindness is good to ourselves and to others. But it just says to try to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. And I thought it was quite a nice one. So that was my notes sort of wrapped up on that. But I know there's a feature we forgot last week that you got a bit aggressive about, to be honest. So I'd make sure I've changed my template so I won't forget it again.
Good.
Which was that 100 skills that every man should know. That's how it's. Yeah. And
which is grammatically terrible.
It is, but I've kept it in there like that so we know where we are with it. But anyway, the one that it's actually number 2 on the list. It's okay. I'm going through them chronologically, but I'm really not. But it came up. I thought, well, this is quite a good one to discuss anyway, which was about every man should know how to build a campfire.
Oh.
Now, I mean, Scouts was very useful for that, wasn't it? Cubs and Scouts, you learn that. You learn the intricacies of doing that when you're out in the woods and having to fend for yourself. And I don't know about you, but I've always loved a fire.
Well, the other thing is, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm not convinced about my ability to light one without some sort of aid, such as a firelighter.
Oh, okay.
Or I might be able to if you gave me. I mean, am I going to have a lighter to light it, or have I got to rub two sticks together or get a bit of flint?
No. It's actually about the act of building it.
I can build
into lighting.
That's fine. I can build a fire. Yeah. I'm all right with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So so obviously you get perhaps your newspapers and then your kindling and then your logs and stuff, and away you go.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, it's nice to build a fire, but I'll tell you what I don't like about building a fire.
Okay.
The way I smell afterwards.
Oh yeah, that's always nasty, isn't it? And you get an ember, always goes in your eye when it's crackling away. Always does. It finds the way in.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's only a short departure from that to the great love of barbecuing. You know, it's nice to build a fire and to cook on an open fire, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I also love using an incinerator. You know, where you can stand there and burn.
I've never used an incinerator.
Oh, they're wicked. You can stand there. I've burnt whole. We've replaced a fence, for example.
I thought you were going to say I burnt whole bodies. Then
did you? I mean, that would be a bizarre thing to do. That wouldn't smell nice, would it? But
no, and it would be an odd thing to reveal on the podcast, wouldn't it?
It would really.
I would have thought, at the very least, you'd have wanted to tell me that privately.
Yeah. It's not a thing. Yes, otherwise, Friday morning, or perhaps even Thursday evening when this goes out, there'd be a knock on the door, wouldn't there?
My dad had an incinerator, but I've never had one. And I must admit, I've always felt slightly jealous of people with incinerators. Perhaps I should get myself one.
I think you should. Put it on the bottom of the garden. There's this wonderful feeling of oneness with fire.
Is there?
Yeah, there is. And because it's something you just do when you're you can sit in the thoughts. Your thoughts are different when you're around a fire than you are around.
Is there a wonderful feeling of oneness with your neighbours if they've got the washing out?
No, it's
best your incinerator on.
No, I always find it's best to do it when it's dark as well. There's a nice glow to it. So you do it when everyone else has gone to bed, or you do it quite late. It's lovely.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe I'll get an incinerator.
I think you should
put it on a Christmas list, couldn't I?
You could. It's quite big to wrap, but you'd guess what it is if it gets wrapped up, put under the tree.
I might think it was a space rocket.
You got to have that anyway.
Okay.
So, yeah, building a campfire. Apparently, it's one of the skills that we should have.
Okay, so of everything that's on this list, and obviously I don't know what else is on it, but I suspect that is one that is probably quite a useful skill for all of us.
Yes,
to have.
It is. Yeah,
building a campfire, and even if it's not useful, it's enjoyable.
Yes, it is. Absolutely right. Yeah, there's a lot of. I find it quite therapeutic standing next to a fire. I think.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you've never built a fire, male or female,
yes,
go out and build one.
Get yourself. Yeah,
Let us know how you get on.
Yeah, and don't burn any bodies. It's not for that.
Don't set fire to yourself either.
Absolutely. Yeah, safety first.
No petrol, paraffin on it.
No artificial aids like that. Okay, well, on to the gratitude lists then.
Yeah, I think it's your go.
It is, and obviously it's quite easy for me because I've mentioned it at the top of the episode as well, and that was just going to the alley pally to watch the National.
It was good, wasn't it? I could have had that on my gratitude list, couldn't I?
You could have done, but I was grateful because you bought me the ticket. So
That's true.
There was kindness involved, not only in Ghana. It was a great evening out, wasn't it? It was fun.
It was good fun. I could be grateful to the National, couldn't I, for showing up?
For showing up. And to the soccer mommy, the support group.
Yeah, I always find it's great. That's a great band name if you're American because it's easy for you to say. It's not very easy for us to say.
No, it isn't. No,
it's not very easy for us to say soccer mommy.
Yeah, it isn't.
I want to say soccer mummy, which obviously is not the name of the band.
No.
So they didn't really think about their international branding when they were naming the band, did they?
No, they didn't. But I thought their content was interesting. Very good. Enjoyed it.
It was good. Okay, well, anyway, I haven't got anything involving that evening as much as it was fun. I haven't got anything involving that on my gratitude list. This week on my gratitude list, I've got carpets.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because, as you know, I've always had kind of bare boards in my house.
Yeah.
But since my elder dog got arthritis, one of the interventions you should make with a dog with arthritis is stop them slipping around. So I've put rugs down all over the house. And do you know what? I never realised how delightful it was to have rugs in the house. It's really nice. I didn't I mean, I always liked bare floorboards, but actually having rugs everywhere on top of them, incredibly comfortable. So a small thing, I know, but it's brought me and Daisy enormous joy.
Oh, good. You pamper that doggy, don't you?
I definitely do, yeah, and she deserves it. They don't have long lives, dogs.
No, they don't.
Should give them everything you possibly can, because we don't deserve dogs, really. They're the best.
Probably not. No, you're right. You're right. Just going back to the rugs. Do they slip on the bare floor?
No, they don't slip at all, because in Dunelm they sell this kind of weird underlay. I don't know how it works, really. It kind of feels a bit tacky to the hand, although it's not sticky stuff.
No.
It must be the material. You stick that down, don't move an inch.
No slipping. Excellent. Good. Well, just a quick little quiz for you then to wrap up, which is
great. And for the listeners, don't forget.
And for the listeners who aren't to join in. So I'll give a bit of a gap before I give the answer.
Okay.
I feel like Ken Bruce on Popmaster now. It's great. So on this day in music, but which year?
Yeah.
Now, Led Zepp, I know that you love a bit of Led Zepp.
I do, yeah.
Do you remember what year that their album Led Zepp 3 was top of the charts in the US? Probably in the UK as well, at a similar time. But it was Led Zepp 3, an early Led Zepp album.
So I'm going to go, I reckon one must have been about 68, 69. So I'm going to go 71.
Oh, 1 year at 1970. There's a very good effort.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to let myself. I'm going to be okay with 1 year out. I think
we'll give you a point for 1 year either side of the thing, because it's difficult.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and 2 points for on the nose.
Well, yeah. Well,
I got no points last week.
No.
Yeah.
But you've got you got a point already.
Lovely, good. I'm feeling confident going into questions 2 and 3.
Okay, well, question 2. I'm not quite sure if you're interested. I mean, I like Led Zepp, but not as much as the Smiths.
Okay.
And Johnny Marr from the Smiths was born on this day, but what year? So Johnny Marr.
Okay.
He's just a fabulous musician, isn't he?
Right. So this is tricky.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm going to say 19.
19's right. You got that part. You're in the right century.
1961.
Ooh, very good. 2 years out, I'm afraid, mate. You don't get a point. 1963.
Oh.
Yeah. And the last one, which is quite tricky. Oh, that's tricky. Yeah, Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Ferry Cross the Mersey.
No, You Never Walk Alone.
Who did Ferry Cross the Mersey?
They did that as well, yeah.
Oh.
But yes, You Never Walk Alone. It was number 1 in the UK.
What year?
Yeah, what year?
Yeah, 1960. I'm thinking this might have been before. I might be quite wildly out here, but I'm going to go 1962.
Oh, you get a point because you're 1 year out. It was the same answer as Johnny Marr. It was 1963.
Oh, I'm quite pleased with myself this week.
Yes, you've done well on that, mate.
Yeah, thanks. Don't patronise me.
I'm not patronising you. I'm just it was a sentence of kindness. I was supposed to go away. I was being kind to you.
Very good. Excellent.
Good. Well, you passed. You did well there.
Thanks.
That's it. I'm going to shuffle my notes away now. Can you see it?
Yeah, like a newsreader.
A newsreader. Thank you.
Yeah. Which newsreader would you be if you were a newsreader?
A newsreader.
I'd say you were.
John Craven. I think.
John Craven from Newsround.
Yeah, he was my favourite. He had a gentle approach to it.
I'd say you were Alistair Burnett.
Alistair Burnett. Although he used to like Trevor McDonald, I've got to say.
Yeah, you can't not like Trevor McDonald, do you?
No,
actually, you remind me a little bit of Angela Rippon.
She's come back to prominence recently. I mean, she was quite big in the 70s, but she's in her 80s now and still doing...
No, she's not in her 80s. I think she's 78, isn't she?
Oh, is she? Isn't she on Strictly? Isn't she?
Yeah, she's on Strictly, and I was thinking last night, she must be getting on. She must be in her 80s, I was thinking.
Ah, so you already know the answer to that.
So I checked, and she's 78. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But even so, 78 swirling around the dance floor with whatever his name is.
Yeah, it's not something I watch.
No, I know you don't. You don't watch Bake Off either, do you?
No, I don't. No.
My daughter, who I use just as a final aside, are we done now?
Yeah.
My daughter's a final aside. She used to watch Bake Off with me. We used to watch it together.
Yeah.
And she kind of lost interest a little bit in that, but she's completely lost interest in Strictly, which she also used to watch.
Okay.
And she pointed out last night, she said it's boring, isn't it? Because mostly they're people who they're not doing something particularly well or particularly badly. And she has this theory that it's fun to watch people do something brilliantly.
Yeah.
But it's fun to watch someone do something terribly.
Yeah.
But it isn't much fun to watch someone do something that they're only really average at. And I said to her, I wish you told me that before I bought a season ticket for West Ham all those years ago.
They drift more towards the terrible, don't they?
Yeah, I suppose so.
But no, you're right. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of it that way, but it's sort of I suppose that's a bit of a weapon for me then to say to people why I don't watch it.
Yeah, so that's Beth's theory, that it's only entertaining to watch people who are brilliant or terrible at something. So,
well, she's studying psychology, isn't she? So she knows
there
these
might be
things.
something in that, mightn't there?
Yes, absolutely. No, I bow to her knowledge on that. Absolutely right.
All right.
Good work. Thanks, mate.
Good. All right. See you next time.
See you soon.
Laters.
Bye.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.